work is really important for Unite. Indeed, we often describe it as being one of the three pillars of our union's work, along with recruitment and organising and our political work. This is because we know we cannot represent the interests of our members effectively without engaging in international matters. Comrades, we live in a globalised world. Our members work for multinational companies, or in the supply chains of multinational companies, or in sectors dominated by multinational corporations such as Honda, Nissan, PKC, and those comrades I met this morning from Bombardier in the aerospace industry. To influence these companies and improve the working lives of our members, all of our members, we cannot simply look to our own borders. We have to be international. As Len McCluskey said this morning, we cannot ignore labour rights abuses just because they're happening on the other side of the world. There is a fundamental principle of solidarity, and the fact that we know that if a company can get away with exploiting its workforce in one part of the world, it will try to do the same elsewhere. That is why we've become increasingly concerned about the situation in your own country. Comrades, the renegotiation of the NAFTA agreement and now the EU-Mexico Free Trade Agreement has brought renewed attention on the violation of workers' rights and an attack on democracy in Mexico. We've seen protection contracts, yellow unions, poverty wages, and the abuse of labour rights by company unions, in many cases supported by your own government. That is why Unite has been working with other trade union colleagues now in Europe and within the European Union to ensure that the issue of labour rights is included in the current discussions over extending the EU-Mexico Free Trade Agreement. Comrades, it is our clear view that without significant reform of labour law in Mexico, an end to the disgraceful system of protection contracts, and the prevention of attacks and intimidation against your members, trade union activists, there should be no question of the European Union extending its trading relationship with Mexico until that is put right. That is why last week Unite asked Labour members of the European Parliament to campaign against signing the new EU-Mexico agreement while these attacks on your employment rights continue. We will stand by you when you are the victims of industrial homicide, such as the tragedies that have been referred to by Napoleon and Len McCluskey. Comrades, Unite is an international union. We are members of Workers Uniting, and we will continue to work internationally, because although it sometimes could be a cliche, it is a truism that in the trade union movement, the principle is an injury to one is an injury to all. Unite and the United Steelworkers in Workers United have just returned this week from a visit to Cuba. So I'll finish with the words of Fidel Castro, which are still true. History will absolve us.